Hey friends, get ready for a one-of-a-kind journey with Ladies First, a podcast that's not just a show, but a heart-to-heart conversation brought to you by the incredible Majority Leader, Leah Halton-Pope, and myself, the inspiring Councilwoman, Zeneta Everhart.
Join me and Zeneta twice a month as we sit down with amazing women who are paving the way, breaking barriers, and making waves in their communities. In a sea of podcasts, Ladies First stands out with its personal touch, providing a front row seat to authentic discussions and celebration of remarkable women.
So whether you're driving to work, taking a stroll, or just relaxing at home, let Ladies First be your companion. It's not just a podcast, it's a personal connection to the inspiring stories that shape our lives.
Welcome to the world of Ladies First, because here, every voice matters and every story deserves to be told.
Ladies First.
Ladies First.
Well, welcome, ladies, to Ladies First.
Good morning.
And happy Friday. Keep it funky Friday.
Yes.
We've already established this Keep It Funky Friday.
I mean, we don't know when y'all gonna hear this, but today is Friday for sure. So we don't know when they're gonna watch it. We have no idea when you're gonna hear it, but today is
Just
Friday.
keep the energy of Friday when you hear this.
Right.
And it's been a long week. I don't know about y'all.
It's been a long
yeah.
week. It keeps going quickly.
So
Absolutely.
we are joined by three powerhouse women on our Ladies First podcast. Yes. We're super excited.
Let's go.
We have
get it.
Janice McKinnie, who is the owner, the president, the founder of Developments by Jem with a J, not a G.
Jem with a J.
And we have Janique Curry, who is the owner, founder, president, CEO, boss, lady in charge of J.S. Curry and Associates. And the incomparable, the one and only Michelle Barron from Dress for Success. Welcome.
Well, thank you for having us.
No, thank y'all for coming.
I know,
and
thank you
being a
for
part of
joining
this
us.
Conversation. So we usually start these with, we want to know who y'all are.
Yeah, tell us all about
Outside of, you
Tell
know,
us your business.
We know what y'all out here doing, the moves y'all making.
Right.
We know
All that
that.
kinda
But
stuff.
who is Janice?
So who am I?
Who are you?
Come on, Janice.
What I get probably the most pleasure out of is being a mom, a wife.
Yes.
I'm with a blended family. We have 6 girls, 1 boy, and 5 grandsons.
6 girls.
Yes. So people probably would not ever think when they see me.
6
Six
girls.
girls.
That's,
I mean, it was
that
4.
sounds like a reality show.
Yeah,
5
right.
in my
Exactly.
family,
Exactly.
Plus
But
my
it-
mama, I guess it was 6 of us.
It was 6
girls,
of
my
you.
poor daddy.
Yep. But born, raised in Buffalo, schooled in Buffalo. All my friends always say, if anyone can make it in Buffalo, you can make it, and I'm making it, and I'm
I know
happy
that's
about
right.
it, and I'm proud of it.
Excellent.
Yes. So who's Janique?
So I am also a wife, a mother, blended family, all boys. I'm the only girl in our family. And I am originally was born in Brooklyn, grew up in Long Island, came to Buffalo to go to school, and I have been here ever since.
I love hearing those
But
stories.
aren't you 1 or 2?
Oh, yes, I am, and I'm a twin.
I love hearing those
Yep.
stories about how people
Yep.
came to Buffalo to go to school, and you just like
And
came
you
here
stayed.
and just
Yep.
stayed
Yep.
and
Yep.
and out here making moves.
Yeah.
So Michelle, who is Michelle?
So I am Buffalo born and raised, attended Riverside High School, worked for the city of Buffalo in economic development for about 15 years.
Wow.
I love Buffalo. I love everything about Buffalo. I would never leave here.
I know that's
You know, travel, but in terms of quality of life and relationships and networks that I have here, I couldn't imagine starting over in another city doing what I'm doing now. So I love Buffalo.
That's
Weather and all.
beautiful.
Weather and
Right?
all, right,
Weather
right,
and
weather and
all.
all.
Weather and all.
Winter,
Yes.
you know, crazy winters, all of that. But I think that makes us really tough. You know, they talk about New York City like being tough, but I think that our winters and the way that we're able to move and navigate through all of that, I think that makes us
Right,
really
4
tough.
feet of snow and we still out here.
We still
Yeah,
out here.
right.
Like, okay,
We-
we
Right.
going to the
It's
store.
not always 4 feet of Buffalo. For those of you who are not from
And it's not always
Buffalo,
the coldest
it's
either.
not always
Right.
the
We have
coldest. It's
beautiful
worse
summers.
in Syracuse sometimes than
Right,
it is
yes.
here.
I agree.
Let's be clear about that.
Right.
Yeah, we do have beautiful
sometimes-
summers.
We
We
do
do.
have beautiful
do.
summers.
We do.
do.
I mean,
All
Yes,
seasons.
all
Yeah.
seasons.
Yeah.
we get a few. I mean, construction is a season.
Yeah.
Construction
right?
is
It's a
sometimes
season that you
season and out of
appreciate.
season. Yeah, you
Yeah.
appreciate it, and even in the fall, we have had good construction seasons. When people didn't
Absolutely.
think we would. So you're right, most definitely.
Absolutely.
So,
Most definitely.
This month for this episode, we wanted to talk. You know, we talk to women about your life and business. We want to talk to you about what you do and how you balance your work-life balance. But we're also speaking on certain issues, and so we try to talk about issues that are important to us. And so one of the issues we want to talk about this month were workforce issues. Workforce, MWBE, collaboration. How do you balance all of these things? And you all are not just individuals working in your own spaces, but you're also collaborating on some big projects as well. So I guess before we dig into how you're working together, do you want to tell us what you're doing as individuals and how you got into those fields? So we'll start with you, Janice.
So I've founded and created a not-for-profit called True Community Development Corporation, which I have ran for the past 20-something years. It's the development arm of True Bethel Baptist Church. So out of doing all of that and being an administrator for the church, it is not what I went to school for. I went to Buff State for public communications. I have a master's from Medaille Organizational Leadership. Has nothing to do with urban planning, construction, or none of the above. But it just, I kind of fell into it. And I always tell people that. I fell into it being the administrator of my church and with their desire to create all of this wonderful housing or economic development. And I learned as I went. And I always tell people, you know, degrees are wonderful. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it, but sometimes you just really learn on the job, and God put you in a place where you need to be. And I really believe that, because if I had my way, this is not what I wanted to be doing. I was going to be the first Black Barbara Wawa. That's what I wanted to do. But I realized that chasing a new story really sucked. And it wasn't exciting to me. So I fell into other things. So out of like all of my experience, I served as the church administrator for almost 20 years. So out of that, I was like, people kept saying, I want you to do for me what you're doing for Pridgeon. And I'm like, well, that's a whole nother story, because that's more than just a job. It was a lot of relationships, friendships, and we talk about relationships. I think a lot that gets done in Buffalo, it's definitely based on relationships. So if you're not born and raised here and you come in, you'll notice that, you know, the circuit is tight and relationships matter a whole lot. But I thought that I could assist people by doing my own business. So I created my own business back in, I think, like 2014 or something. And I had no idea what I was doing. I just was like, let me create this LLC for me to start doing business. And I would do small things. You know, if somebody asked me to do a meeting or do this, and it just grew from that. And again, not knowing exactly what I was doing, but I understood business. I understood organization. I understood how to communicate. And it's kind of, I think that's what's been successful, and that's where I've landed
Yeah, so before we go into the other ladies, like, doubling down on that, like, how important is that? So, like, one of my favorite books is Shonda Rhimes' Year of Yes, right?
Yes.
And just saying yes, right,
Yep.
to new opportunities and stepping outside of your comfort zone, because everything you just said is about stepping outside of
most
what you
definitely.
thought you were supposed to be doing.
Most definitely.
Right, so how important is that, right? Like,
Yeah.
to just jump into something and just figure it out.
So for me, because I like to control things, I've
know
learned to
anything about
really let go.
Yes.
And when I've let go, opportunities have come, and I didn't have to do it perfect.
Right? No. You
So
can't be
that's why I
perfect.
think we kind of get into this, I got to be perfect. And I'm not, I had a bad perfect Patty syndrome. Bad, it was bad. But I realized, I mean, when you see people, you have no idea, like, let's be honest. we all got here, right? We look good.
Yes.
You have no idea what happened from the car to here,
Right.
Yeah.
but we made it happen.
Right.
So all the stuff that happens behind the scenes, people really don't care because people don't need to know.
Right.
It's just how you show up. If you show up, that's what's important.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Janique.
So
We know you in workforce. You everywhere, Janique. And I love that for you.
Janique is always working.
Yeah, right.
So just not being from here, actually, speaking to the relationship portion, I've known Jan since college and Michelle as well. And it was a relationship that we had. Haven't always worked together, haven't always done a lot of things together, but building those relationships is really important. And, when I got here to go to college, obviously I majored in something else as well. I majored in criminal justice. And I thought that I was going to be the next Supreme Court justice. I wanted to go to law school. And I found out, I finished at Buff State. I went to paralegal school, and I found out that, the law was fascinating and amazing, but it was not for me. So I took a pivot and went to government, and have been in government for a long time and doing a lot of various roles and working for the governor, the actual governor. And
Two governors, right?
Two governors, yes, Spitzer and then Patterson. And then I switched to healthcare and administration, and that is where I have been, and also education. I served on the school board, had a lot of different experiences there as well. Raising a child in this city is very different from how I grew up in Long Island, and we had to make some pivots.
But how did you get into your business? Because your business is in consulting as well, right?
Yes. So I originally got into my business as a notary. I was doing a lot of notary work for a lot of different people, loan closings and all those things, and then people asking me to do a lot of things, and didn't really know everything that they were asking me to do, but I figured it out.
That's right.
And made a pivot. And then when I was working for the governor, we had an opportunity to sign a bill here for minority and women-owned businesses to participate in the financial industry. And we signed that bill, the governor signed that bill here in Buffalo, and I went forward with making sure that other MWBEs had opportunities to work inside of government.
Beautiful.
And so then you end up being like a compliance officer and making sure that there were no waivers, making sure that, can you talk about that at all?
So in my previous role in healthcare administration, I was a compliance officer, and I did that for about 8.5 years with Erie County Medical Center. And we were in the midst of a construction project at that time, and my job was to make sure that we were compliant with the state's MWBE 15A laws. And outside of construction, there are a lot of other opportunities for minority and women-owned businesses that people do not think of. We were in the midst of building a nursing home, so we literally bought everything that you need for a person who lives in a facility. So everything from shower curtains to art, to televisions, to carpeting, flooring, everything was purchased. And that was an opportunity for us to engage with the community who were selling those things, and also to make sure that they went through the process and were able to get credit for the work that they did. So the hospital had goals and the state had goals, and we had to reach those goals.
Beautiful.
That is nice.
That is amazing.
Do you think that, and before we get to Michelle, do you think though that kind of created this opportunity for consulting? Like, do you realize that people were like, you know what, everything that it takes to even to do this podcast, people were missing an opportunity, and you're like, I could probably train people to see what they're missing.
Absolutely.
Is that what started your business? Is that what was the
Absolutely.
impetus?
So I created a class when I was there because I was spending so much time with people individually working on their applications. I created a class in order for folks to go through the class at the same time and to be more efficient. Jan took the class.
Yeah, sure did. I did.
And got certified, and many people have gotten certified from that class. And I walk them through it step by step in order to make sure that they're completing all their documents. We're sending in a complete and full application. We won't get rejected. And that's what led to my business.
Beautiful. So Michelle.
Wait, before you start on Michelle, let me just tell you about Michelle.
Okay, please give her an intro.
No, I'm not even
no,
going to, let me just
don't.
tell you about my Michelle
Okay,
story.
all right. Don't make me, don't.
I might.
When
So
people
let me
start
tell-
with my Michelle
Michelle
story,
story, I know, I was like, I'm
I gotta tell you
scared.
about my Michelle story because I moved back to Buffalo December 31st of 2009 from DC. And I started with the Girl Scouts. And my last name is Halton-Pope. People call me the Fixer. I got, like, the best thing that could ever happen was that extra name Pope. I like Olivia. That is what I don't mind. So we had Judy Smith, I was with Girl Scouts, and we brought her in to speak to women and girls, the real original, real Olivia Pope. And so she was speaking to this group. And so in this room full of women, she's talking about her experiences, and she opens it up for questions. And I'm relatively new, so I'm listening, but I've been paying attention to the news, so you hear these stories of people's life stories, whatever. So this woman gets up. It's Michelle. And she's telling, and I won't go into her story. If she wants to go into it, she can. But she's telling her experience in city government. And she was so transparent. See, it's gonna make me cry. So she's so transparent at the moment. And she was telling how she felt, how she experienced it. And it was so real and so raw. And in the city of Buffalo, you don't always find people to be authentic like that. And for a room full of women where you have really young girls, teenagers, college age individuals, working women, seniors, etc., to have this woman who looks like you share a very heartbreaking experience, and then to know on the other side of it is success, right? And to see that there is someone who is thriving. See, it makes me cry. I'm so proud of her.
Michelle about to cry too.
So Michelle was
Don't
like,
mess up the makeup.
I know, but for
Don't got no
me,
tissue.
so the reason that these women are all matter to me is I've known them throughout my tenure in the city of Buffalo. Like, I've known Janice probably since I was 17 or 18.
Yep.
I've known Michelle and Janique at different periods of my life, but over the last 11 years, probably consecutive. But Michelle, I admired her quietly. I'd never met her. I just admired her. And I was like, wow, she's phenomenal. I just watched her because I read about her first in the paper, and then I got to hear about her from herself.
And
so
speaking
Michelle
of
Barron.
that authenticity, because she is.
She's
when I
so
first met her, that's
real.
all I got from her was like, this is what you got.
I know.
Right? And I love that.
Sorry.
And your work in workforce
Speaks.
is about bringing out the authenticity
In
in
others.
people who are seeking jobs.
But also women.
Women,
and
right?
highlighting the work of women
And
like making
showing
sure-
them how beautiful they are, right? I remember
Yes.
that interaction that I first had with you
know.
at your store.
Yep.
And I had never met you. I didn't know
Right.
who you were. I just knew of you.
Right.
And you made me feel like, I was like, I like this lady. Like she is like, girl. And so tell us about that. Like, that is a beautiful space to be in, to try and pull out the person. And you do that so well with women in our community.
Who's Michelle Barron? Let me be clear though, they all have this story for me. For the record, all of them are this raw and this real. For the record, we wouldn't have anybody on here that's not real, but just so you know.
So, Leah, oh my God.
Sorry.
So you just recently told me this story.
I know I never told her.
And she
y'all.
never told me this story. I never knew that. But that goes to show you that when you never know who you're reaching
watching, yeah.
and who's watching you.
Yeah.
You know, like you never know. And I remember that moment vividly. And that's probably another show, but I did work. I did work
It
in
might
city
be,
government for 15 years, and I was let go publicly, and it was a very trying time for me, but for my family, and yeah, it was trying, but I made it through, and I quickly. It didn't happen overnight, so I don't want people to think like, oh, you know, she lost her job and then boom, she's at Dress for Success. No, that didn't happen. There was a lot of, you know, I was in a valley. You know, I was down, then I was up. I was down and I was up, and you know, being in a place where you know people think they know you by public perception because of you know how you were let go from your job, and then having to rebuild, you know, and not so much me rebuilding as a person, because at the very core, I was always that person, right? But I had to rebuild professionally because that's a stain.
Yeah.
You know, that can be, but I think that it's a testament to, you know, what happens to you when, like when you're in the trenches, right? And your back is up against the wall, and the only support that you really have is your family and your friends, and and then you know, you just work through it, and there's no magic, you know, there's no, you know, formula to say, hey, you know, I was let go from my job and then this happens. It's like, no, I was let go from my job and then it led to this, it led to that. I became a caregiver, you know, during that process with my mom, and then I landed at Dress for Success as a volunteer. As a volunteer, and the person that was in a position at the time, she was there for maybe 30 days. So, you know, she opened the affiliate, and then she decided that this really wasn't her thing, and which, you know, led me to basically take over and restructure. We had to close down, restructure, but my relationships and the network that I had from working in city government allowed me to put the pieces of the puzzle together with Dress for Success. So everything that I did, you know, working in economic development, I worked with women business owners. I helped women launch their businesses. I quickly became my own client, just in the not-for-profit world, because I was just working with, you know, for-profit businesses. So all of these businesses on Jefferson, I worked with facade improvement programs, you know, tax incentive programs, everything to help a business, you know, launch. But the incubator, which is the exchange at Beverly Gray, but that was one of my big projects. Gigi's was a big project that I worked on, but it then allowed me to become my own client, right? So then I had to take everything that I learned from working in development and apply that to my not-for-profit. And so then I, you know, moved into the not-for-profit world with Dress for Success, and then that's a whole different animal, right? Because the not-for-profit world is, you know, it's complicated. It's complicated, and it's not it's
not for the weak.
It's not for the weak.
It's not for the weak. It is not.
When you're not relying on, when you don't have a paycheck coming in every 2 weeks, and your livelihood depends on whether or not you receive funding, you know, for a program that you know that's needed. You know, I mean, and this is, you know, the program is a citywide program. We're helping women. I get calls not just from women in the city, but as far as, you know, Holland, New York. I mean, they hear about it, and they want to know how they can be a part of it and how they can receive assistance, you know, in helping them enter the workforce, not just by way of, you know, free professional attire, but the programs, the resources, the workshops, everything that we do within Dress for Success is to really help build the woman from the ground up, because we never know who's walking through our doors, you know. So it's been, but I could take what I went through, and then I'm able to, you know, apply that to the work that I do. But I'm also in a position that I feel like I can help shape, you know, the women that comes through our doors. Not everybody, because you got to be willing to receive that type of help, but assistance, because we're not giving them, it's not a handout. Like, we really want to build them up. So, which is the reason why I fight so hard for funding. I fight really hard to the place I'm probably annoying, but you know what? It's like, this is what it is, and it's a part of the hustle. Like, you gotta, you know, it's a not-for-profit business, but it's a for-profit world, and so, you know, I mean, I gotta, you know, I have to survive too, you know, in addition to paying rent and inventory and everything else, but that's another story. But so yeah, it's great to be able to apply my life experiences to the work I do at Dress for Success.
So for all of you all, especially in working together, can you give, in our, apparently time is flying when you're having fun.
We are having fun.
Funky Friday.
I know, it went real fast.
Yes.
Can you share thoughts on collaborating together and the importance of women working together? Can you inspire, like, each of you just give a thought on how important it is to work together? Maybe one of you, what it means to work together. The other, pitfalls to avoid. And
how to let your magic shine.
Can I just say something about that, about our collaboration? Because it really started with Janique, and Janique was presented with the opportunity. But what I didn't know was that you were in Janique's class, and so Jan's MWBE certification is, you know, what we used in order to pull that project together. And I think that it speaks to the fact that, you know, women can work together. We do have one guy on our team, but that women can come together and collaborate and say, hey, we all have all of these great things going on in our lives in our own right, but let's bring all of our resources together and make this thing happen. And I think that's what we did with Jim. And, you know, just, you know, when I'm working with Jan, I'm a team member. You know, it's not about I'm the executive director of Dress for Success. No, Jan, what do you need from me as a team member? Because I'm not here
as an individual,
as an individual.
Collective,
I'm here. I know how to, you know, move those hats. So there, that's.
I think Michelle summed it up. And it's also important that, like, as the leader and you know, the person in the forefront, I want everybody to shine. I'm not a limelight person. Leah knows that. I could give two hoots if you know who I. Let me be quite honest. I wasn't trying to let nobody know. Actually, the name was out and no one even knew it was me. They probably thought it was Janique. Until things kept coming up.
Oh, for Jem?
Jem.
Oh, because of the J?
Yeah, so for me, get a piece of the pie. Stop trying to have the whole pie if you don't got all the recipes. And the ingredients.
You don't have
we
to
have
it
all the ingredients for a whole pie. We got a huge opportunity because we decided that we could all work together and every expertise was important to make it happen. Yep.
So
Last word.
Pitfalls. I think that, you know, in working together as women, you have to make sure that you have to let your other team members shine, and you have to make sure that the opportunity represents you and who you are, but also represents the team.
Excellent.
Beautiful.
And check
Ladies.
your egos. Check your egos.
So check your egos. You don't have to shine. We're all one team. Everybody gets a piece of the pie.
And if everybody's getting a piece of the pie, we shine it.
We all shine it.
And it'll rotate at some other time.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Y'all are
Ladies,
beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us.
We
you for
have to do
having
this
us.
together. We definitely needed a whole hour.
We did.
But
We're gonna have to
we'll
do
be
it.
back.
We're
We
gonna
can
have
be
to do it
back.
again.
Yes.
Thank you
Thank
so
you for
much.
joining
we'll
Ladies
come back.
First.